The CDC ranked 47 fruits and vegetables by nutrient density. Kale came in at number 5 centi spinach. Hit number 5 centi spinach. But number 1? A plant you've probably never heard of, let alone eaten. It scores a perfect 100 out of 100 on the nutrient density scale. And chances are it's not in your garden, not in your grocery store, and definitely not on your dinner plate. So what is it? And why has nobody told you about this? Keep watching, because this gets interesting. The plant is called watercress. Watercress. That little leafy green thing you might have seen as a garnish on fancy restaurant plates and completely ignored. Turns out, ignoring it was a mistake. A big one. Let's talk about what nutrient density actually means, because this matters. The CDC didn't just randomly rank vegetables based on vibes. They used something called the Aggregate Nutrient Density Index, or ANDI for short. It measures how much nutrition you get per calorie, minerals, and beneficial compounds packed into fewer calories. The higher the score. Watercress scored 100 out of 100. Perfect score, not 99. Not 95. 100. To put that in perspective, Chinese cabbage came in second, at 91.9. Red bell peppers, which everyone thinks are super healthy, they scored 41.26. Blueberries, the supposed superfood everyone obsesses over, they didn't even make the top 41 list. Watercress crushed everything. Now you're probably thinking, okay, but what does that actually mean for me? Fair question. Let's break down what's in watercress that makes the CDC rank it as literally the most nutritious plant you can eat. 1 cup of watercress, just 1 cup, gives you over 100% of your daily vitamin K requirement. Vitamin K is critical for blood clotting and bone health. Most people are deficient in it and don't even know. 1 cup also gives you 22% of your vitamin C, more than 20% of your vitamin A, and significant amounts of calcium, manganese, and B vitamins. And here's the kicker. That 1 cup is only 4 calories. 4. You could eat a pound of watercress and barely hit 70 calories. But it's not just the vitamins. Watercress is loaded with phytonutrients, plant compounds that have serious health benefits. It's got high levels of glucosinolates, the same compounds found in broccoli and Brussels sprouts that are linked to cancer prevention. It's rich in antioxidants like beta-carotene and lutein. Some studies suggest it can help regulate blood sugar, support heart health, and even improve thyroid function. This isn't some trendy superfood that influencers invented last Tuesday. Watercress has been used medicinally for over 2,000 years. The ancient Greeks fed it to their soldiers before battle. The Romans believed it prevented baldness, which, spoiler alert, it doesn't. But they were onto something with the health benefits. So if this plant is so incredible, why isn't everyone growing it? Why isn't it in every grocery store? Why are we all obsessing over kale and acai berries while watercress sits in obscurity? The answer is complicated, and it starts with how watercress grows. Unlike most vegetables you plant in dirt and water occasionally, watercress is aquatic. It grows in water, not just moist soil, actual flowing water. In the wild you find it in streams, springs, and slow-moving rivers. It needs clean, cold, oxygenated water to thrive. This makes commercial farming tricky. You can't just plant it in a field like lettuce. You need specialized growing systems. Most commercial watercress is grown in carefully managed watercress beds, shallow channels of flowing spring water. It requires specific infrastructure, constant water flow and monitoring to prevent contamination. It's labor-intensive and expensive compared to growing something like spinach. That's why watercress costs more at the grocery store, when you can even find it. Most supermarkets don't carry it. If they do, it's in tiny plastic containers that cost $3 or $4 for barely enough to garnish a sandwich. The markup is insane, and it's because the supply chain for watercress is much smaller than mainstream vegetables. But here's the thing. You can grow watercress at home, and the watercress is happy. You have to top off the water regularly, maybe every few days depending on temperature and how much the plant is drinking. You're essentially creating a self-watering system. It's simple, it works, and it requires way less fussing than trying to keep the soil consistently wet through regular watering. Another method is shallow pond growing. If you have a small pond or even a large bucket set up as a mini pond, you can grow watercress directly in the water, Float it on the surface or anchor it in a shallow section where the roots can reach the bottom, but the leaves stay above water. This is as close to wild watercress as you can get. The plant absolutely thrives in this setup. Some people grow it in their aquaponics systems, which is perfect because the fish waste provides nutrients, and the watercress filters the water. It's a mutually beneficial setup. The watercress grows like crazy, and the fish get cleaner water. You can even grow watercress indoors if you don't have outdoor space. Same container method works. Put it near a window with good light, or under a grow light if you're getting serious. Keep the water reservoir filled. The plant doesn't care if it's inside or outside as long as it has light, cool temperatures, and constant moisture. Starting watercress is straightforward, pretty cheap. Or you can buy a bunch of fresh watercress from a grocery store or farmer's market. The kind with roots still attached. Stick those stems in water, and they'll root in a few days. Then plant them in your setup. This is actually easier than starting from seed because you skip the germination stage. Seeds need to stay wet to germinate, which means you're misting them multiple times a day or covering them with plastic to maintain humidity. But once they sprout, they're good to go. Germination usually takes 7 to 14 days depending on temperature. Here's something important. Watercress is a heavy feeder. It needs nutrients. In a traditional garden bed with soil, you'd add compost and fertilizer. In a water-growing system, the nutrients have to come from somewhere. If you're using the container method with soil, the soil provides nutrients initially, but it'll run out. You need to add liquid fertilizer every couple of weeks. Something balanced, like a fish emulsion, or general-purpose liquid fertilizer diluted to half strength. If you're growing it in pure water with no soil, you need to add nutrients more carefully. This is basically hydroponics at that point. You can use hydroponic nutrient solutions, or you can do it organically with compost tea. Some people use aquarium water from their fish tanks, which already has nutrients from fish waste. That works great. Light requirements are moderate. Full sun in cooler climates. Too much hot sun, and it bolts quickly. Too much shade, and it grows leggy and weak. You're aiming for 4 to 6 hours of sunlight, or bright indirect light if you're indoors. Now let's talk about the problems you might encounter. Because nothing in gardening is ever completely problem-free. Watercress has a few potential issues. First, aphids. These little green bugs love watercress. They cluster on new growth and suck the sap from the plant. If you see them, spray them off with water. If it's a bad infestation, use insecticidal soap. Don't use harsh pesticides. You're going to eat this plant, and watercress absorbs everything from its environment. Second, algae. If you're growing in water, especially in warm conditions with good light, algae will grow. Green water, slimy film on the surface. It's inevitable. This isn't necessarily bad for the watercress, but it's ugly and it competes for nutrients. The solution is either shade the water to reduce light, or add more circulation if possible. Some people add mosquito dunks, which contain bacteria that eat mosquito larvae and some types of algae, but are harmless to plants and humans. Third, slugs and snails. They love watercress. If you're growing outdoors near the ground, they'll find it. You can pick them off by hand. Use beer traps, or put copper tape around your containers. Copper gives slugs a small electric shock when they touch it, so they avoid it. Fourth, bacterial contamination. This is the big one people worry about with watercress. Because it grows in water, there's a risk of harmful bacteria like E. coli if the water is contaminated. This is why you should never harvest wild watercress from streams or rivers, unless you're absolutely certain the water upstream is clean. Agricultural runoff, animal waste. All of that can contaminate water and make watercress unsafe to eat raw. In your home growing setup, this isn't really an issue if you're using clean municipal water or well water. Just don't use water from questionable sources. And always wash your watercress thoroughly before eating it, even if you grew it yourself. Harvesting watercress is simple. You can start harvesting once the plant is established, usually 4 to 6 weeks after planting. Cut the stems with scissors, leaving about 1 inch or 2 of growth above the water or soil line. The plant will regrow from those cut points. You can harvest continuously all season as long as the plant is actively growing. The flavor of watercress is peppery, similar to arugula but milder. It's got a slight bitterness that some people love and others find off-putting. The younger leaves are milder. The older leaves and stems have more bite. If you let it flower, the leaves get much more bitter and tough. So harvest regularly to keep it young and tender. You can eat watercress raw or cooked. Raw is most common. Toss it in salads. Put it on sandwiches. Blend it into smoothies. Some people juice it, which sounds intense, but apparently it's a thing. Cooked watercress is less common, but it works. You can sauté it like spinach. Add it to soups at the end of cooking, or blend it into pesto. Cooking reduces some of the nutritional content, especially vitamin C, but it still retains a lot of value. One traditional use is watercress soup, which is popular in Europe. You basically cook potatoes and onions in broth. Add watercress near the end. Blend it smooth, and you've got a bright green, peppery soup that's delicious hot or cold. It's simple. It highlights the watercress flavor, and it's a great way to use a lot of watercress at once. Storage is tricky because watercress is delicate. It wilts fast once harvested. The best method is to treat it like cut flowers. Trim the stems, put them in a jar with an inch of water, and stick the whole thing in the fridge. Change the water every couple of days. This keeps it fresh for about a week, or you can wrap it loosely in damp paper towels. Put it in a plastic bag and refrigerate. It won't last as long, maybe 3 to 5 days. You can freeze watercress, but the texture changes completely. It gets mushy when thawed. This is fine for soups or smoothies. Not great for salads. Blanch it briefly, shock it in ice water, squeeze out excess moisture and freeze in portions. Use it within a few months. Now let's address the elephant in the room. If watercress is so nutritious and relatively easy to grow at home, why isn't everyone doing it? Why is this the first time a lot of people are hearing about it? Part of it is cultural. Watercress isn't traditionally part of American cuisine. It's more common in European and Asian cooking. Americans don't have recipes passed down from grandma that feature watercress. We're not used to seeing it, buying it, or cooking with it. Food culture is incredibly sticky. We eat what we're familiar with. Part of it is availability. You can't buy what's not in the store. Most people don't seek out specialty produce they've never heard of. They buy what's convenient and familiar. Since watercress is rarely stocked and expensive when it is, most people never try it. Part of it is marketing. The superfood industry loves to hype certain foods. Blueberries, kale, quinoa, ACI, these all got massive marketing pushes. Watercress didn't. There's no big agricultural lobby pushing watercress because the industry is small. Nobody is spending millions on watercress advertising campaigns. It's seen as fancy restaurant garnish, not everyday food, not nutritious eating. That perception keeps people from trying it. But here's what's changing. As more people start growing their own food, as home gardening expands, as people look for genuinely nutritious options they can grow easily, watercress is getting a second look. Gardening forums are talking about it. YouTube channels are covering it. Seed companies are stocking it. Slowly, the word is getting out. And the timing is perfect because watercress solves a problem a lot of home gardeners have. Most highly nutritious greens are cool season crops. Spinach, kale, lettuce, they bolt when it gets hot. You get a short harvest window and then you're done. Watercress, if you keep it cool and wet, can produce all season. Planted in early spring. Harvest continuously through late fall. In mild climates, harvest year-round. That's incredible productivity from one planting. It's also space efficient. You can grow a lot of watercress in a small container. A 12-inch pot can produce enough for multiple salads per week. For apartment dwellers, balcony gardeners, anyone with limited space, this is huge. You're getting elite-level nutrition from a plant that takes up less space than most houseplants. The flavor might take some getting used to if you're not accustomed to peppery greens. Start small. Add a little to your regular salad mix. Mix it with milder greens like lettuce or spinach. Not the main event. As you get used to it, you can increase the proportion. Some people end up loving the peppery bite and want it in everything. Others prefer it as an occasional addition. Both approaches work. There's also a psychological benefit to growing your own most nutritious plant on earth. You're not just growing tomatoes or lettuce, you're growing the #1 ranked food according to the CDC. That's empowering. You're doing something most people don't even know is possible. You're taking control of your nutrition in a meaningful way. The health benefits are real and backed by solid research. Multiple studies have looked at watercress consumption and found positive effects. One study found that eating watercress daily reduced DNA damage in cells, which is linked to cancer prevention. Another found it helped reduce blood pressure and improve cardiovascular markers. There's research suggesting it supports thyroid function through its iodine content. Other studies show it can reduce inflammation and oxidative stress. None of this means watercress is a miracle cure. It's not going to fix everything. But as part of a healthy diet, it's one of the best things you can eat. And unlike expensive supplements or hard-to-find exotic foods, you can grow it in your backyard or on your windowsill for pennies. Here's a practical challenge for anyone watching this. Get some watercress. Either buy a small container from a grocery store if you can find it, or order seeds online. Set up a simple growing system. A pot in a tray of water is fine for your first attempt. Grow it for a month. Harvest it. Eat it regularly. See how you feel. You might notice more energy. You might notice better digestion. You might not notice anything specific, but you'll know you're eating the most nutrient-dense food available. That's worth something. The fact that watercress is largely unknown despite its incredible nutritional profile is honestly a failure of our food system. We focus on what's easy to grow, ship, and sell at scale. Nutrition takes a backseat to convenience and profit. That's why nutrient-poor foods dominate grocery stores, while things like watercress are relegated to specialty status. But you don't have to participate in that system. You can grow your own. You can prioritize nutrition over convenience. You can eat better than 99% of people by growing a plant most people have never heard of. That's the opportunity here. So there it is. Watercress. The CDC's #1 ranked plant for nutrient density. Easy to grow, insanely healthy, and almost completely unknown. Now you know about it. The question is, what are you going to do with that information? If you want more videos on growing unusual, highly nutritious plants, subscribe. More content coming soon.